And after 62 weeks, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself, because Jesus didn't die for himself. He died for us. And then it says, and the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Now let's stop there for a moment. Who is the prince who is to come that is going to destroy the city and the sanctuary? There's three ideas. The first is that the prince is some nasty antichrist that is going to rebuild the Jewish temple and is going to sit in it for 3.5 years and persecute the Jews in the future. No good. Another view is that the prince was Titus, who was the one that came with the Roman legions and destroyed Jerusalem in the year 70. The third interpretation is that the prince is none other than Jesus. The prince who is to come is Jesus. You say, now wait a minute, Pastor. How can the prince who is to come be Jesus? Well, to answer that question, let me ask you, who destroyed Jerusalem in the year 70? How many say that Titus and the Roman legions destroyed the city? How many are willing to say that it was the Jews who destroyed the city? How many of you say that it was the Jews themselves who destroyed the city? Because there's three ideas. God destroyed the city. Titus destroyed the city, or Israel itself destroyed the city. Well, let's talk about the Jerusalem in the Old Testament. When Israel went into captivity, who destroyed the city? If you read Daniel 9:14, it says God destroyed the city. But if you read 2 Chronicles 36:17-20, it says Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the city. And in Daniel, I'll mention Jeremiah 38:23, it says Israel destroyed the city. You said, now wait a minute. Israel destroyed the city. Yeah. By their disobedience, they were the ones that brought destruction. And God used Nebuchadnezzar to destroy the city. Are you with me? So who is the prince who is to come who will destroy the city? Notice once again, the people of the prince. Who are the people of the prince? The prince is Jesus. Who are the people of the prince? The Jewish nation shall destroy the city. Did the Jews destroy their own city by their choices? By rejecting the Messiah? Yes. Notice this remarkable statement by Ellen White in the chapter on the destruction of Jerusalem. Great Controversy 35-36. She understood this. The Jews had forged their own fetters. They had filled for themselves the cup of vengeance. In the utter destruction that befell them as a nation, and in all the woes that followed them in their dispersion, they were but reaping the harvest which their own hands had sown. Says the prophet, O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself. She's quoting from Hosea 13, verse 9. Why? For thou hast fallen by thine iniquity. Their sufferings are often represented as a punishment visited upon them by the direct decree of God. It is thus that the great deceiver seeks to conceal his own work. By stubborn rejection of divine love and mercy, the Jews had caused the protection of God to be withdrawn from them. And Satan was permitted to rule them according to his will. Now go with me for a moment to Matthew 22 and verse 7. Here's very interesting, this story. It says there, it's a parable of Jesus, the parable of the vineyard. You know, messengers are sent to the vineyard at vintage time to get the harvest, and the workers of the vineyard reject the message. They kill the ones that come for the grapes. So God in His mercy, He sends more messengers after that. And they do the same to them. By the way, you have the two stages that we've talked about Israel. The first stage is between Sinai and the Babylonian captivity. The second stage is the 70 weeks that God gave them. Messengers are sent, and then the parable says, and last of all, He sent His own Son. Who is that? Jesus. He said, they're going to respect my Son. But what did they do? They said, this is the heir. Cast him out of the vineyard and killed him. And then Jesus asked them, what do you suppose God is going to do with the ones who did that to His Son? And Jesus said, the kingdom will be taken from them and given to the Gentiles. God has no more plan for the Jewish theocracy. Now, as individuals, God loves them. Many of them are Messianic Jews. They love Jesus. But as an entity, as a system, God is finished with the function of the Jewish nation to reach the world with the gospel. Now, it is a task that belongs to the church, the worldwide church.